All right, December the 8th, Friday edition, the Carolina weather video. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about here as our next weather-making storm systems here pulling into the region. Let's start here with a look at the Greensboro Tower camera, cutting this video a little bit later than normal. This is about 6:30 or so this morning, and that's what it looked like in the Triad at that point in time. We'll take a look at Charlotte, some low clouds. We've had some rain moving through the Charlotte metro area over the past couple of hours. So far, temperatures holding well above freezing. There are your temperatures. Again, this is during the 6 a.m. hour. And even more so than normal this time around, the near-surface temperatures are going to play a huge role in the snow forecast for this incoming storm system. Again, Charlotte's at 42. We're watching dew points carefully. I do note the dew point has dropped this hour as I cut the video down to 27 in Greensboro. And we'll see how these dew points respond. This is going to be one of these storm systems that has got to rely on some cooling from above, some dynamic cooling. And that'll try to draw some colder air down from aloft, at the same time some drier, cooler air trying to filter in from that cold air mass off to our north and west. So a lot going on. Really challenging forecast. They always are, these winter weather forecasts, but this one might even be more so than normal. There's the radar early this morning. Some very light precipitation across the region. Intensity picks up down into North Georgia. And look at this. Much of Mississippi, central Alabama, most of Louisiana, and most of the Texas Gulf Coast having snow, and heavy snow at that. What a wide stretching storm system. If you enjoy winter weather-producing systems, that's a pretty sight there on the radar this morning. Low pressure beginning to develop in the northern Gulf. Is going to be a very slow mover, and we probably will not see the precipitation end in the Carolinas until late morning Saturday. So there's your winter storm warnings. Places like Corpus Christi, Meridian, Mississippi, over toward Montgomery under winter storm warnings. Western parts of North Carolina, up in the mountain zones, there, Asheville included, down in North Georgia included in this winter storm warning too. And then it's a winter weather advisory. Now it's interesting to note, as I cut the video, Charlotte, Gaston County, Lincoln County, not included in this winter weather advisory. I think, at least for some of those areas, it could change later today. Really challenging forecast. Now, take the amounts with a grain of salt, but look at the footprint of snow here from the European model, and then, of course, we'll wind up extending on up into the Carolinas. So here is the deal. Low pressure moving from the Gulf slowly off the Carolina coast. And, again, here's the representation of the rain-snow line on Futurecast. And a lot of times, once you get this close to an event, it does a really nice job with that rain-snow line. So it has it basically hanging just southeast of Charlotte up to southeast of Asheboro to northwest of Raleigh. And that's where it kind of stays for most of this event. This is 7 o'clock Saturday morning. And we get out to Saturday during the day. Band of snow tries to pivot through. And then we just have a chilly afternoon unfold. European model. Notice the rain-snow line fairly close. In fact, really close, frankly, to what you see on Futurecast. This is 5 o'clock Saturday morning before the precipitation ends. The NAM, the 6C run, pretty similar too. Now again, take this with a grain of salt. In fact, a bunch of grains of salt. This is the European snow output. This is overdone, almost certainly, due to warm ground temperatures and near-surface temperatures that are going to hang above freezing for a lot of this event. And I'll show you some more modeling in just a second, but here's what I'm going with, the basic idea. And for the time being, I would lean toward the bottom end of these ranges. Okay, so I would think more like, for instance, in the Triad, more like 2 inches, more like 1 inch in Charlotte. But if the precipitation is heavy enough and the air mass cools enough near the ground here, we could easily see the upper end of these ranges verify. And some of these snow charts that you see put out by some of the modeling, just incredibly impressive. And I tell you what, it gives me concern. This gives me a lot of concern because if you look at the forecast soundings in model applications such as Buffget, which I use very often in winter weather forecasting, it's ominous in terms of how much snow falls. And this is all the reason these numbers are relatively low is because you're depending on the near surface temperatures causing a good deal of melting. And if that does not wind up transpiring, then we're looking at a whole different ballgame. But this is the way I'm leaning this forecast right now. All right, so let me show you a few other things here. Let's take a peek here at the NAM. All right, this is going to be the 6Z run of the NAM. This is valid, 1 o'clock this afternoon. We go out a little later. This is valid late afternoon. A little bit later than that, there's your overnight hours. And then finally, this final little comma head pivots through Saturday morning. And you know, one of my favorite tools in wintertime is the regional Canadian model. And it's been very consistent over the last couple of runs here. There's a look at late morning. Then we go out to early afternoon. We go out to later afternoon today, then into tonight. Probably a little lull this evening before the next round of, and the final round of precipitation moves in later tonight into tomorrow morning. And just as a for instance, again, these snow charts are off the charts in many instances. There's the regional Canadian for the 6Z run. That's incredibly impressive. There's the high resolution NAM model, incredibly impressive with these snow totals. Even the GFS, which is the warmest of the larger models, there is the HER, which has been warmer than most throughout this morning. But there's the GFS. This is there's the 0Z run, and I've got the 6Z right here. There's the 6Z run. Now again, I think you need to cut into these totals a decent amount due to the warm ground conditions and the temperatures kind of hovering above freezing for a lot of this event. A lot of this is going to depend on how heavy the precipitation is. But again, I mean, this is a really challenging forecast, and I don't mean to sound like I'm kind of tap dancing. It's just, boy, it's a challenge this time around. And so again, I'm sticking with this kind of idea for the time being. We'll see how that plays out. But that's the idea that I'm going with for right now with this event, and a lot of this accumulation will be on the grassy and the elevated surfaces. All right, that's it for now. The latest edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day and weekend, and God bless.